Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your last session of notes for Chapter 12. We are on 12.7, which is on equations of circles. So, key thing here is what is the standard form or standard equation of a circle. So we say that a circle has a center of h and k and a radius of r. And the formula or equation that we use to write the circles is seen below. So it's x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. Okay, one big thing to notice here is that h and k here in the equation are always opposite. Okay, so like if I had 2 comma 3, it's positive 2, positive 3, it would be x minus 2, y minus 3. If it was negative 2, negative 3, it would be x minus a negative 2, which is plus, y minus a negative 3, which is plus. Okay, so they're opposite. Okay, so right off the bat, we're going to try and write an equation of a circle below. I've got a center right here. So that is a center, and it's probably a good idea to start off by doing this. Center at 0, comma 0, just until you practice it a little more. And we're going to figure out what my radius is. So it looks like this has a radius of 2. So r is equal to 2. So when I go to my equation right here, I'm going to go x minus my h value, which is just 0. So x minus 0 squared plus y minus 0 squared is equal to 2 squared. So x minus 0, you really don't even need to write that. We can just do x squared plus y squared is equal to 2 squared is 4. Okay, so that's what we call a circle that has not been shifted off center. Its center is at the origin. Okay, so let's take a look at another example. So example 2 says, write the standard equation of a circle with center at 0, comma, negative 5 and a radius of 3.7. Okay, so I'm going to just write down our general form here, x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. So in parentheses, I'm going to have x minus 0 squared plus, remember this is now going to be opposite because it's y minus a negative 5, so this is really y plus 5 squared is equal to, my radius is 3.7, so I've got to square that. So on the left, x minus 0 is just going to be x squared plus y plus 5 squared, we're not going to do anything with. Okay, you don't have to FOIL that out. And then we've got to square 3.7. 3.7 squared gives us 13.69. So this would be the equation of that circle. Okay, so let's try another one here. So this one is the more involved example because I don't give you a radius here. Now, you got to be careful. I'm telling you that this circle has a center at negative 1, comma 2, and then it's point negative 3,4 is on the circle. So our goal is I've got to figure out what this distance is. Now, since that's not a straight left or right or up or down direction, you can't count that. We're actually going to have to do some math to figure that out. Okay. Now, one way of looking at this, and I think that this is easiest, is we can always make a right triangle out of these if we want, by thinking that this is 2 and 2. There's my right angle. My goal is to find the hypotenuse of that triangle, which is just the radius. Okay, so let's start by doing that. I'm going to say that using Pythagorean theorem, I would go 2 squared plus 2 squared is equal to the hypotenuse squared, so I'm going to call that r squared. Okay, 2 squared is 4. 2 squared is 4, so I'm going to get 8 is equal to r squared. Now, if I wanted to find r, off to the side, I would say r is equal to, I would square root, and I would say r is equal to the square root of 8, or r is equal to 2 root 2. But here's the thing, we don't even have to do that, because remember, in our formula, or our equation of a circle, we're using r squared. So once you know r squared, you don't actually have to solve for r, because you would just have to go back and square it then. Okay, so what I mean by that, and I'll show you after we write this, this is going to be x plus 1 squared, because it's opposite, plus, in parentheses, y minus 2 squared is equal to, I know that r squared is 8. So I'm going to go 8 there. Now what I was just talking about was like if I took and solved for r, and then I have to square it, so like r squared, square root of 8 squared is just 8, and you're kind of just working back and forth unnecessarily. Okay? So the next one here, example 4 says the equation of a circle is given to us there. Graph the circle. Okay, so I'm going to go with a center here at, it's -2, so this is going to be opposite 2 comma -3. So I'm going to go over 2 and down 1, 2, 3. There's my center. Notice that I've got 16 here is r squared, so my radius on this one I'd actually have to find because I'm graphing it. Radius is going to be equal to 4. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4 from my center, over 4 and down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now hopefully you can draw a better circle than me. I'm not going to be super picky about this, but I'm going to say, there it pops up. I do not want to see, because this is what a lot of kids will do, is they'll just draw straight lines like this, and then you end up with a diamond. If you do that, I'm going to mark it wrong. Do your best to make it look like a circle. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect, just don't make it straight lines. Okay. What do we got here? Oh no, my OneNote's not loaded. Okay, let's try and cut this off here. So you guys have, I think, 3 more examples on that page. I'm going to try and load this here. Let's see if it works. There we go. Okay, so number 2, 3, and 4, if you guys want to try these on your own, go for it. Pause the video, and then you guys can just go back and check. They're pretty straightforward. So write the standard equation of a circle with a center of -3, -5, and a radius of 6.1. So I'm going to go x plus 3 squared plus y plus 5 squared is equal to my radius squared. So all I've got to do is take 6.1 and square it, and that comes out as 37.21, so equal to 37.21. Over here I've got just x plus 3 squared plus y plus 5 squared. Okay, this one, it says the point -1, 2 is on a circle with center of 3, -3. Write the standard equation of the circle. So the point, so my center, I'm going to go x minus 3 squared plus y plus 3 squared is going to be equal to, now on this one you got to be careful. We've got to find out what our radius is here. I've got to find r squared. So I'm going to leave that blank for now. Now here is the alternate way. If you remember, when we did one like this before, we had the graph paper there, so we could just make a right triangle. You could certainly do that on this one, but I'm going to show you another way you can do it without having to do the graph paper. Okay, so since this point is on the circle, I know that it has to satisfy this equation. Okay, just like when you guys were graphing lines, if a point is on the line, it's got to satisfy that equation. So I can go through and I can plug those values in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go -1 minus 3 in parentheses squared plus 2 plus 3 squared is going to be equal to r squared. Okay, over here I've got -1 minus 3 is -4 squared is 16. 2 plus 3 is 5. 5 squared is 25. All of that is equal to r squared. 16 plus 25 is going to give me 41. So I'm going to have 41 coming over here is equal to r squared. Really, we're just doing the Pythagorean theorem there, essentially, without seeing it visually. So I've got 41 is equal to r squared. So to write the equation, I've got to come back and I've got to plug that in right here. So I'm going to just erase this. And then this is equal to 41, because that was my r squared. Okay, this one, we just got to graph the equation of the circle. So I've got a center here at, it's going to be -2, 1. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 1. There's my center. This is r squared, remember, so my radius is 3. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Oh, that one. Oh, I jinxed myself. I was going to say that one wasn't too bad until I got to that last one. Okay, cool. So here's your homework. This is worth noting. Your test is going to be next week. This is the only video you have to watch for the week. And there is no assessment since you only learned one new thing. Now, the following week, when we are taking that test, I will do a review video that you guys can work out. And I think it's in your OneNote folder. I think it says review for video. There's also the chapter 12 review in OneNote, and as we to help you guys prepare for that test. So please let me know if you guys have any questions. We will see.